Hello, my Chunsters. My name is Glenn Chun, and it's time to have some fun with Chun's WrestleCast, Episode 1, which is a combination of wrestling and podcast. It's popped into my head sometime, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But it's a work in progress, so if you like the name, we're going to drop a comment or whatever, or a like, or a dislike, I guess. No, don't dislike it. Don't do that. But, yeah, enough about the name. It is the name. Because today, we've got some awesome topics for you. We've got the Bullet Club joining WWE. We've got Sting in the Hall of Fame. But most importantly, I have another very special guest for you tonight. His name is Grayson Reeves.
Hoorah! Hello, people. And hello, Glenn. How's it going?
It's going very well. I am excited for the show as well, because today we actually had all of the tech problems down and dusted before the show, and that's always a positive.
Yeah, as long as it, it doesn't affect my interview. That's all.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely not. It absolutely will not do that. And I'm going to attempt to follow the stream, and the Google and the internet is being very, very helpful to me, and will not actually show me where the stream is. There it is. Here we go. I can now follow us, so I can keep track of all of your guys' comments. If there are any comments, of course.
I'd watch out. Jason King will probably have a comment or two on there.
And now it says comments are disabled for this video. Okay, well, there is another page you can watch it on if you want to do comments. There should be an annotation that says "Be a part of the conversation," and if you click on that, it should come up and it should work. I'm hoping. Anyway, enough about setting up. Let's go with the first question. Quite nice, quite harmless, and it's really cool. It's, when did you first become interested in professional wrestling?
Oh, interested.
Yeah, when was that first moment, that spark?
The first spark, probably when I was a kid, more like probably between like 10, as soon as my early teens came in, and then like all that kids, I was probably about 8, 10 when the Attitude Era was proper going. So obviously you had the Stone Cold, you had the Rock. I mean, everyone loved that. The kids were crazy for him. I then dipped in and out of it. I mean, I went through like peaks and troughs with wrestling in terms of watching it as a viewer. Because obviously Shawn Michaels was obviously my favorite when I was a teenager. And as I was watching it, when he left in 2010, 2011, I dipped out of it again then because I was a bit depressed because he'd left. But after that, I started watching it again regularly, and then I started to try and become one. I mean, I always thought I wanted to do it, and like this is one of the true passions that I've actually got, rather than I'll go in and out of fads, usually with like hobbies or anything. But this one is the one that's stuck for me. It's the one I've wanted to do, and it's one I've actually feel like I can actually accomplish something with. So it'd be good to become something better than, to become something good. That's essentially all I want to do, is be good at something. And I think this is something that I can be good at.
That's a very, very similar thing for me. I was like, I went through like all sorts of different interests. Yeah. And then I was like, then wrestling was always that one constant thing. I also dipped in and out. I dipped out around the 2005, after like 2006, I sort of dipped out of it again, and then sort of came back to it in 11.
Yeah, see, I had the same. I mean, you go through the phases. Like the business went through the phase, it had the Attitude Era, and then it had the come down after the Attitude Era, and then it had the PG era. And like, I mean, a lot of people don't like the era that we're in, but I can enjoy it at the moment. I enjoy watching some of the stuff on WWE at the moment. So, and obviously I watch wrestling in completely different ways than I used to. I mean, I'm still a fan, because obviously you're always going to be a fan, whether you're a wrestler or you're not a wrestler, you're always going to be a fan. But I look at it to learn now. I look at, like how to adapt and how to be better myself, as well as looking at other people and thinking, oh, you want to aspire to be some people, essentially.
Yeah, you want to sort of assimilate but not copy. If I think what you mean. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's step one. You become interested in pro wrestling. So the second step is, so when did you make your professional debut? When was your first match? How did it actually get started? How did your actual get started, I suppose?
I started only with January now. I started March or April last year, so I haven't been doing it very long. I mean, there are people that pick it up quicker than others. I like to think that I've picked it up quite quickly, but my first match, I would say, was in June, and it was at an LEP Academy show, so it wasn't. It was just like a small little set-in, and it was a little Academy show. But I'd say that was my first match. If you're talking first matches in promotion-wise, I would say my first match was for PWA, which was September against Krieger in like a dark match. That was my first time outside of LEP, so I mean that was a big step for me. So I'd say that was probably my first official match.
Wow. I didn't realize I'd assumed from watching you at CPW in November that you must have been doing it a lot longer than that.
Yeah, I do get that a little bit. I get that a little bit. I always have people say to me, "Oh, how long have you been doing this? How long have you been wrestling and whatnot?" And I remember I went to Pro Evolution in maybe June or July last year, and one of the guys asked me then, he goes, how long you been doing it? I was like, well, I've only been doing it about 4 months. He goes, the way that you've picked it up, it's like you've been doing it for like a year or two. And I was like, well, obviously that's a great compliment, because obviously it shows that you're picking things up quite quickly. But like I said, all I want to do is learn, and the quicker I learn, the better I become, and the better I get, the further I'll go. So that's essentially all I want to do.
Yeah, that's all you can really hope to do, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess if actually having that short of a career so far, I suppose this is probably going to be an interesting question. What has your highlight been so far? Like your favorite moment, I guess.
God, that is such a tough. I was actually thinking about this in the car today on the way back to, like, because I knew I was doing this interview. I was thinking he's going to ask me what is my favorite moment or match. And I honestly can't pick one, because there's been so many. Even though I've only been doing it so short, it's been I've had so many like cool moments to have. I mean, I had a match with Eddie Ryan, incredible. So it was such a good experience. That was the night after I had my match at CPW, which was amazing as well. And then December, I had a match with Tyler Hawk, another great match. I really enjoyed that one. I think if I could work with guys like... I
watched that one. That's very good.
Yeah, if I could work guys like Eddie and Tyler every week, I would. I mean, they're just so cool and so good to work with, and they bring out the best in you, which is essentially what you want. You want to become better. You need to elevate yourself to their level so that you can compete. Then, obviously, in the same night as I had that match with Tyler, I had the Royal Rumble, the LEP Rumble, which I actually won. I mean, my record in terms of facing certain guys, not great. I do tend to lose a lot, which Jason King will never ever stop harping on about. Jason King has ribbed you a lot for that. Yeah, but I had a match with Jason. Mine and Jason's match was cool as well. I've been to WAW and I had a match up there with a guy called Mario, and he was brilliant as well. I wouldn't be able to narrow it down to one because I've had so many good ones in such a short time. But I mean, the Rumble was cool. I mean, I really enjoyed the Rumble. It was my first one, and it was just fun. And I've never had as much fun as in that match. So I'm going to go with winning that Rumble was probably my favorite moment to date. But then you can't take away from the matches I've had. So, it's so hard to choose. I'm yet to experience that. I really hope I can one day. So I guess let's go with this. I wrote them down in a different order than I did last week. I suppose. So who would your dream opponent be if you could face anybody, walking the face of this earth, or anybody who's ever wrestled? Who would you most want to face? Okay, obviously you go after your idols, don't you? So Shawn Michaels, if he was still active now, I would pray, I'd cry. I would do anything to have a match with Shawn. But interesting question. Maybe like in something not local, but within the British independent scene, I'd love a match with Doug Williams. I think Doug Williams would be a brilliant match. I mean, he's a great technical wrestler. I watched his match at CPW a few months ago, and I loved everything about him. It was so cool, and I'd love to be able to experience a match with him. But yeah, between them two, in terms of British independent scene, and then, you know, if you had your ultimate dream opponent, Shawn Michaels would probably be the one, to be honest.
Yeah, see, I think Doug Williams as well. You watch that guy on. I think most people will probably only be aware on the world stage. Most people will only be aware of him on TNA. And you watch him on TNA. It's everything he does is so incredibly smooth. He could probably do most of the match for you.
It's annoying to watch because he's just so smooth, and like ultimately he's a perfectionist, you can tell, and he's just really cool to watch. So, you know, I'm jealous. I mean, he's very talented and very skilled at what he does. Even coming towards maybe not even the tail end of his career, but like even after being at TNA, he's still the same as he ever was. So.
Yeah, he really is. And you also mentioned Jason King there. Now, last week I asked Jason about Jason Gray's show and about how about your guys bonding, but it seems at the moment that he's constantly ribbing you about that. And now that you've won the Rumble, am I right in thinking Jason King wants his revenge? Because he mentioned in the King's speech, LEP Wrestling Academy Show 7, I think he's calling you out.
If he's calling me out, I'm already the #1 contender, so I'm already standing ready and waiting. So it's not like he has to call me out. I'll be there in the ring, ready to meet him face to face. So go on in this King's, but you know, I'm there. I'm ready when the time comes. As soon as LEP7 is booked, I'm there.
Oh man, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I am.
I mean, we've already had one match, and he screwed me out of that.
Oh, okay. So this is how it is. All right. So the Rumble's legitimate, but Jason King screwed you.
So the Rumble, the Rumble was legit. I mean, he threw me over the top, thinking, "Oh, very clever, haha." He won what he didn't realize. Standing behind him, kick him over the top rope, #1 contender. The match we actually had before that, he had to use his championship belt to gain the upper hand, and one of his cronies, Shane Palmer, had to be used to defeat me. So, you know, I was already in line for a rematch from then, I'd imagine. I just had to win the Rumble to prove it.
As a matter of proof. Well, you won the Rumble, and you have your proof, and you have your rematch then, I think. So that's going to be awesome. It's going to be cool. So the other thing that happened, you were nominated for a lot of awards on last week's show, including Moment of the Year, Match of the Year, and, okay, this is kind of a Jason King nomination, Worst Decision of the Year, which, that's the other thing. He called you out for Worst Decision Year trying to learn how to wrestle. We didn't give you that decision, or we did not give you the win in that award, quite critically. But the Moment of the Year awards, which is one that you did get nominated for, which is a cool award, it's one you want to win. It was from your match at CPW. Okay, so for people who weren't there, for people who can't see it, which you can see it, it's on YouTube. I will provide a link in the description so you can go and watch a highlight package for this match from CPW against El Diablo Loco. So there's this gantry, kind of like a rig there, and about 20 foot tall. It's so that they can, I don't know, fix the lights in the venue, I guess. And there's this moment you're coming up it, and this thing isn't even fixed down, and then you're just staring down there at El Diablo Loco, and I've got to know, because I've never done anything quite like that. You jump off. So I want to know what goes through the mind of a man who is about to jump off a 20-foot scaffold onto another man. I really want to know what thoughts go through your head at that moment.
You broke up a little bit, so I couldn't quite hear, but I'm guessing you were talking about CPW when you were saying what's going through your head at that moment when you're about to jump off a structure that wasn't fixed down. It was on wheels. I realised that as I'm climbing up the ladder. I'm like, this is on wheels. But I mean, I wish I went higher. I mean, it wasn't quite as high as I was hoping. Once you're up there, you're kind of looking down and you're like, oh, this is quite high. But I mean, I think the moment would have been me.
Oh, hello. That's an interesting one. We just lost Grace. He's just gone. Hang on, I'll invite him back into this thing a minute. We've just had an internet drop. See, we there. You can never go a whole live broadcast without at least one technical problem. But we'll. I'll send him out another invitation. I'll just tell him what happened in case he's confused. He's typing me anyway. Oh, hello. He's calling me, I think. Hello.
Hello. I am back. Sorry, we just disconnected, but we're back. Are we okay?
Yeah, we're okay. We're back here and we're all good.
It's even better. It sounds a bit better as well. Anyway, going back to standing on the steel structure, I was looking down and I was like, I've just got to jump. And that's what I did. I just jumped. I didn't really, you thought about it for a little bit. You thought about, oh, this is quite high. And you didn't realize it was that high. But then in retrospect, when I look back at the video, probably could have gone higher, which was annoying. But, you know, you don't really think about it. It's one of the things you think, just jump. And then if you're okay when you stand up after, that's it.
That's actually a very similar thought. Like, so when we came to LEP for our very first time, we were like, got to the building, and we were just like, okay, this is it. This is pro wrestling. This is our dream. It's through those doors, and we're like, what if we suck? And then you just go straight for it. Yeah, I think I know what you mean by that, actually.
I mean,
different context.
You're always afraid of sucking. You don't want to suck. So you always just try and do something to the best of your ability. And, you know, if it comes off it, then great. You know, if it doesn't come off, you look past and you go, right, that's just scratch one off and then on to the next one. You don't really think about it.
Well, yeah, that's actually a really good way. I mean, there's no reason, I guess, to be held down by I guess it comes back to, it's at the end of Live in Fear, isn't it? There's nothing to fear but fear itself. So you just got to let it go. I
mean, if you you think about like the pain aspect and things like that, you think about doing stuff, and then when you do it, you think, oh, that wasn't actually that bad. You know, so you should always try it just in case. And that's what we did. As soon as we walked into the building, I was like, that structure is being used. And then we used it, and it was a good shout. It got a good reaction from the crowd, so that's essentially all you want from a match. So it worked.
Yeah, it really did. I just remember, I just saw you climbing up there. I was like, is he crazy? Yeah. is he gonna do this? Yeah, because you will walk into the venue and you can see it there, and it's like, but I could also see that it wasn't fixed down, and I was like, yeah. And plus, I mean, it really was. It really was on wheels. Yeah, I've been because I went to school at that venue, because it's CPW at Weybridge School. I went to school there many years ago, and it was there then as well. And I was like, when I saw you climbing up there, I was like, oh dear. I was like, does he know it's on wheels?
Well, the thing is, I did. The thing is, I did, and I thought I would have enough balance to be able to make it not roll back any further, which luckily it didn't. So, you know, I think everyone kind of held their breath whilst I was climbing up. So it was okay.
Because but I can say it did work. It did work, and you got an amazing pop, which must have felt amazing. Which leads me on smoothly. See, I'm doing smooth transitions here. What is your favorite part of being a pro wrestler? And the reason why I love this question is because I think most pro wrestlers, like 99 out of 100 pro wrestlers, will probably answer the same thing, but they'll probably answer in a different way. But it's a great question to ask. So yeah, what is your favorite part of being a professional wrestler?
The entertainment of it, to be honest. You know, you're essentially doing something to entertain a crowd, and if you can do that by having one of the best, that's exactly what you do. And you always want to be better than everyone else. So, you know, it's about backing that up in the arena, meet the fans after, and it's about just putting on that nice aura, especially if you're a good guy like me. you want to be approachable for fans and things like that. And it's nice to make, especially for like kids and stuff. You don't realize until you do like the meet and greets and stuff that they were excited and were entertained. So I always ask them after, I'm like, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy my match? Did you enjoy? Because obviously we're all there to entertain. So it's essentially putting on a good show. That's essentially what you want to do, really.
Yeah. So I mean, it's your favorite part is basically when you get to meet them all, and you find out just how much they actually did enjoy your show, right? That gratification.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and then there's obviously the athletic standpoint of it as well, being like trying new moves and trying new things that will like take down your opponent that people haven't seen before. You want to do something that someone hasn't seen before, or that comes in hand with entertaining people. So really, it is ultimately entertaining the fans.
That's awesome. Now, also smooth transitions. You'll like this link. We will be seeing you entertaining the fans tomorrow night at PWA New Year Mayhem at Stonehouse Creek Leisure Centre. We are going to be seeing you entertaining the fans in a 6-man tag team match with your teammates John Harding, the Rocker John Harding, and Eddie Ryan. And your opponents are going to be Tyler Hawk, the UK Dominator, star of the Pinfall documentary and British wrestler, and the winner, PJ Jones. So my question for you is this a daunting prospect? You've got some stiff competition there. You've got some good teammates, and you've got some stiff competition. Well, I mean, what are your thoughts heading into this match? And is it possible to game plan at all for this match?
I mean, this match is going to be it's probably one of I like 6-mans. I think they're fun. You know, like you get to do some cool stuff in them, and you get like they're always entertaining, which that's the best thing about it. Being in the ring with guys like the UK Dominator, PJ, Tyler, Eddie, and John. You know, I am the least experienced. I am, it's quite daunting because obviously you're going to have a good match with them, and you want to show that you can hang with guys like that. I mean, I've always had a match with Tyler as well, so they know what I can do. So they should, it's hard because it is daunting. You are nervous about it. I always find that I'm nervous until I step through the curtain. Once the curtain's gone, you just think about what you're doing, and then you're there to entertain, isn't it? And you're there to put on the best match you possibly can. But yeah, now you've brought it up, you're making me nervous. That's what you're doing.
That wasn't my intention. I do apologise.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
But, I was just thinking I've got my finger on the pulse of the local wrestling scene, the British wrestling scene at the moment, like more so than ever before. And when I saw PWA New Year Mayhem and saw the card, the card is strong. The card is strong for sure.
Very strong.
And then that one jumped out at me because there's so many guys there with that I just recognized every single name on that card.
That's the thing.
Instantly.
It's an established, like the whole match is full of established guys, and then there's me. So I mean, being put in it is kind of like, oh yay! But at the same time, you just got to do the best job you can and try and stand out, which is essentially what the whole point of it is. You want to stand out. You want to be the best. I'm really looking forward to Danny Walsh versus JD Knight. I think that match will be the show stealer. It is the main event, but it will be the show stealer. Then you got the Elite and TNT.
Oh man, that has been a full-scale war these days.
That has been hyped. That has been hyped up this week. I loved that they kidnapped Jason King in his place of work through coming out of the toilets. That made me laugh, especially like it. But Jason and Mark ended up on top. So what we see on Sunday could be completely different. It's going to be interesting to see. I hope Maximo and Jack Union come out on top because King. But yeah, that'll be cool. Josh Knott versus Max Alexander. Now that is going to be cool. One of the other than me and Jason, Josh is one around here that is really, he's been doing it for 7 years, and he's just amazing. It's crazy to think that he's only 21 and he's that good, and it's annoying. But him and Max would be great. Max is obviously up and comer at 4FW. Looks in incredible shape. I would kill to be in that shape, but genetic freaks, and he is one of them. He is that guy. I mean, I had the fortune of tagging up with him, and he's very cool. I thought we had some chemistry, and it was maybe we'll get to see us tag sometime soon. That would be cool.
Oh,
and then obviously the last match, Krieger versus Simon Harding. That's just going to be brutality. I wouldn't want to. You want to shelter the kids from that one. That's just going to be a real slugfest. I think it's just going to be bombs thrown from both sides. Expect some crazy stuff to happen in that match.
Well, whenever you get a 7-foot man into a professional wrestling ring, it's gonna be hard hitting.
Yeah, and, definitely. I've felt them hard hits before. I'll have you know, and they're not nice.
I mean, you'd step into a ring with Krieger, and you look up, and it's like, oh, okay, yay, match time.
Yeah, that is essentially it. You get in. I mean, WAW, and he you think 7 foot. You think 7 foot. Yeah, 7 foot's tall. But then you stand next to him and you look up at it, and you're like, that 7 foot is very tall. And that's what you're up against, and you've got to somehow find a way to beat. Both times I've faced off on the losing end. I'm hoping third time will be the charge. Down the road, I'll be able to pick up that win. So it'll be fun. I mean, I'm looking forward to the match because that'll be brutal. It'll be brutal.
Yeah, I must admit, you just look at this card, and it's loaded. There's no other way of putting it. It is packed full of awesome matches, and it's like you say, Simon Harding, I do not envy you. I do. Yeah, no, I don't envy you at all. That's not a position I'm looking forward to being in at any time soon. So, I mean, let's talk about hyping up PWA. It's going to do that separately, but we've just done that, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
that is
done
awesome.
all in one hit.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you about. So we've talked about PWA. We talked about that match. Are there any more appearances? Where else can we see Grayson Reeves? So we've got Grayson Reeves at PWA. That's all cool. What else have you got coming up for yourself? What else is on the near horizon for Grayson Reeves?
CPW in February. That is the next one. I haven't even been told who my opponent is yet. But apparently that's not a problem. But CPW, where they have a special guest star, El Ligero, that would be very cool. I'm going to be sat behind the curtain. I'm going to be sat behind the curtain watching that match. I can tell you that. And then after that, I mean, I'm going up to WAW some more, so that'll be a big priority this year. Which some people will find out more in the coming weeks. I've got a few things that are developing up there, and then there's LEP as well. So whenever the LEP show is booked, I will be there, ready and waiting to reclaim that title from Jason King, because that will be the next match at LEP, the next main event match at Grayson Reeves versus Jason King for the LEP Academy title.
Oh, see, that's the thing. LEP, when that show gets booked, people, you're going to want to get that one on your calendars, and we are going to be promoting that show on this podcast. You can bet that, because LEP, I'm telling you, exciting things are happening at LEP right now. Really exciting things. And I'm looking forward to 2016 and seeing exactly how it all unfolds, because I believe LEP is certainly one. If you're in particularly if you're in Torquay or live around the local area, LEP is going to be one to watch, I think.
Indeed. I mean, the Southwest scene at the moment is growing, which is good. I mean, you've got PWA, CPW, LEP. You got DWA that's starting back up in March. That'll be cool. Can't wait. That'll be, another opportunity for guys to, try and improve. And that's essentially what we all want to do. We all want to become the best. So there's nothing wrong with having so many different outlets to be able to wrestle in different parts of the Southwest. So you got Plymouth, Cornwall, Torquay, and you got DWA, which I think their first show is in Tiverton. So it's like North Devon sort of area.
Yeah, between these four companies, we've got literally the whole Southwest covered. And yeah, it's like you said last year. We saw we saw record attendance figures, didn't we, for the Southwest? So it's exciting.
Yeah,
it's very exciting for all those four companies. If you're in the Southwest, if you live in Devon, if you live in Cornwall, or hell, if you live in the neighbouring counties, these four companies are four companies you want to have your eye on, because they're just, everything is growing so fast. It's going to be very, very, very fun to be a wrestling fan in this part of the country, because, well, for exactly what we just said. And I suppose, okay, so we'll be half an hour into this podcast. So my final question for you, Grayson, is one I asked Jason King last week as well. What advice would you give so if anybody has been listening to this podcast, they've heard you talk about the passion, the fun in the Rumble, and they're like, I want to get in on this fun. I don't want to just watch. I want to do this. I want to make this happen for me. What advice would you give to someone who's looking to start professional wrestling?
I mean, I came in at the age of 4, which is late. They say late. It's not late, but it is late in comparison to some of the guys that have been doing it since they were 15, 16, 17, 18. There's some guys have had 10 years experience already. I mean, that's crazy to think. I mean, the earlier you can do it, the better. They always have made it have something as a backup to fall onto. So I've got a degree, which, go me, got a degree, something if I reach a point in my career on the road, I can use that for something, as a fallback. So that's one, doing it a little, being able to do that. Find yourself a good training school. I mean, LEP is very good. That's always a good place to start. I mean, I've done it differently in the sense that I a little bit like to try and get different techniques from different schools. So started with John Harding in Plymouth, and then I went to LEP with Danny. I now go between there and WAW, which is in Norwich. I mean, that's a long way to go, but the teaching up there is really cool, and they do give you very good opportunities up there. I've been to Pro Evolution Wrestling a few times. That's also really cool. They've got good Sunday sessions going on there. I mean, like I said, it really is all about finding the right place to train. So if you can afford it, train as soon as you can. There's at least get the basics down. I mean, the basics is essentially what you need to keep going. So, you've got to be dedicated 100%. You've got to sacrifice quite a lot. I mean, I've sacrificed not massive amounts, but I've sacrificed a fair bit to do it. The dedication is the main thing. If you're in it, you're in it. You can't go halfway. You can't be like, oh, I'm part-time, I can't do anything like that. You've got to be full-time. It's a lifestyle. It's not it's also your choice as well. So, I wrestle as much as I can when I can. I mean, I've got a job on the side, but I try and wrestle as much as I can. I train as much as I can. And you essentially got to move things around for it to make time for it. You've got to make time for it. And, once you do that, you're pretty much away. And like the world is your oyster. I mean, there's no containment. I mean, yes, the Southwest is up and coming and it's great. You just got to stick with it and be dedicated. Dedication is I'll reiterate it. Dedication is the one that you need.
So the advice is you gotta be dedicated, and it's like you said, you're building things around. So the attitude is you can't have a job and you're doing wrestling on the side. It's got to be wrestling, job on the side.
Yes and no, because obviously sometimes things will clash, but at the same time, you've got to try and wrestle as much as you can. The more you wrestle, the better you get. The quicker you expand. Like that's essentially it. One of the main reasons why I've got not so good in such a short time, but the reason why I've progressed quicker than others maybe is that I've picked it up very quickly, and I'm like naturally I get it. Like it's one of the things in my mind that I get. I mean, I thought I could play football, but I'm nowhere near. I don't get that as much as I get wrestling. Do you know what I mean? So it's naturally you're involved. But yeah, if you're dedicated to it, you will see benefits. You see guys that have been training for a few months now that have improved so much, and that's only through training as much as they can.
I know myself to get down to LEP. The number of times I've had to go to my boss and my manager at work and tell him I need this shift swap because I'm going wrestling. That's exactly
it. I mean, you do what you need to do to make it work. You know, whether that's taking holiday, do whatever. As long as it's done, you need to do that to improve and gain the best training you can.
Yeah, exactly. I get exactly what you're saying there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to start professional wrestling, you've heard about LEP. We have told you about LEP. That is every Tuesday. That's every Thursday at 7:00. Abbey Road. Sorry, in Torquay. Barbican was LP Wrestling Academy Show 6. The actual academy, LP Wrestling Academy, is in Abbey Road every Tuesday and Thursday, 7:00. And it's awesome because you're going to be in a ring. Now, I do also have... Now, if you're in Cornwall and you think a 2-hour drive to Torquay is just a bit too far for you and you want something more local, if you want to train in Cornwall, do not worry. There is one company out there that has got you covered and has got you covered very, very, very well. That is CPW, Cornish Professional Wrestling, and their fortnightly boot camp sessions. Their next one is going to be January the 23rd, followed up with 6th of February, and then every fortnight after that. It's going to be at Penrith Community College in St. Austell from the hours of 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., £25 per session, I believe, or you can bulk buy everything. And these guys are going to have, I think it's John Harding is going to take care of a lot of the training. They've got apparently guest seminars with El Ligero coming up. So if you want to learn from El Ligero, which trust me, you do, you really, really, really do. That's coming up, and they've got the winner, PJ Jones, is coming down to do some training. So if you want to learn how to be a professional wrestler, if you want to think to yourself, I've got to get started in this. And I live in Cornwall, CPW, 23rd of January, Penrith Community College. Get yourself there for 5 hours of professional wrestling training, and you're gonna find out one way or another if this is for you. Terry, doing that one for you, my brother. And I'll tell you that's quite a good plug. I like that. I'm gonna start plugging a lot.
That was
more.
A very good plug. Yeah, it's all about the plug.
You've got to get the plug, and remember, people, in case you don't have very long memories, like sometimes I forget things after 10 minutes. In case you're one of those people, sometimes a bit like me, because I've already forgotten, so I need to just refresh my memory. PWA New Year Mayhem tomorrow night at the Stonehouse Creek Leisure Centre. Got to make sure I get that right. That's going to be an awesome show again. Remember, you got Pretty Boy Danny Walsh as a JD Knight. You got Josh Knott versus Max Alexander. I've got the whole card open here. You've got John Harding, Eddie Ryan, Grayson Reeves, my guest Grayson Reeves versus PJ Jones, UK Dominator and Tyler Hawk, Krieger, the 7-foot Krieger versus Simon Harding, and of course the match has been. I mean, I was going to do a podcast, a special interview podcast with TNT. That kind of didn't go quite to plan when the Elite showed up. But you will see the grudge.
Damn that Elite.
Oh, it's the Elite. They Yeah, you're going to see the tag team grudge match of the Elite versus TNT. So remember, PWA, Stonehouse Creek Leisure Centre, £12, I think it is, for the front row. You've got to be there for the first show in the Southwest. You've got to be there. It's going to be good. If I tell you it's going to be good, take it to the bank, because it is.
Cash that check.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I'm basically. I should just rename myself from Glenn Chun to Clairvoyant. That's what I should do.
No, you should call yourself Glenn Cheap Plug Chun. That's what you should call yourself.
maybe that's what that could be what I do in wrestling. I just like
you can just get Glenn Cheap Plug Chun to do it on his podcast.
Yeah, I could just show up like halfway through the show and plug everything. Why not?
Just plug.
So that is your interview. We've plugged everything. We've got everything out of the way. Now, the other thing about the other side of WrestleCast is, as well as the exciting guests that I'm going to have week in, week out, we're going to have guests on this show to come on to talk to all you guys, to tell you what they're all about, like Jason Reeves, like Jason King last week. We're also going to be talking about stuff which is happening in the wider world of professional wrestling, because the wrestling scene isn't just the Southwest. It is the whole wide world. And at the moment, there are two very exciting stories coming out of WWE, which is that they have signed, although a couple of them still haven't fully declared. Like AJ Styles, I don't know if he's still fully declared or made that announcement, but it's seeming quite likely at this point that it's happening. So we're going to include him in this. They have signed up Doc Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson of the Bullet Club. They've signed Shinsuke Nakamura, the King of Strong Style, and AJ Styles. I mean,
quite the coup, really, isn't it? You know, if you're going to pick four guys, might as well take them four.
Yeah, it's like I need some talent. Oh no! Well, it'd be awesome if we could get AJ Styles, Shinsuke, and two members of the Bullet Club. Oh wait, we can.
You know. I'll tell you what, Vince. I will do that for you. That's exactly what happened. I mean, it's a great story. I mean, everyone's been crying out for AJ to go to WWE for years, ever since he left TNA. Really, I mean, but it's what they do with them. I mean, it's all well and good signing these four guys. It's what they do with them. Are they going to come through NXT, or are they going to go straight to the main roster? You know, I've got I would like it. I mean, there's rumors of it happening, but I would like the Balor Club instead of the Bullet Club. You know, bring Finn Balor up to the main roster, but then you have him with AJ, Nakamura, or not even Nakamura, AJ and Gallows and Anderson. That would be a pretty cool faction, and it instantly makes Finn Balor relevant on the NXT, on the main roster, as well as NXT, because obviously you got guys like Breeze got called up, but you know, he's not like leapt as much as other guys do. I mean, you had Sami Zayn got called up for one match and then hurt his shoulder during his entrance, which is
a bit unfortunate. I think he could have made much more of an impact.
So unlucky, yeah. Exactly, and he still managed to wrestle the match, which was, you know, kudos to him. Like a lot of people, after tearing their shoulder out of their socket or whatever he did, I think was it rotator cuff or something.
Yeah, it's very serious. It kept him out for weeks. Well, months.
I think it was something weeks. Like nine months or something like that. He was out. But if you had that sort of thing, that would be a way to introduce him. Obviously, we've got a certain Royal Rumble coming up at the end of the month. That will be
that little thing.
That little thing, you know. So I think maybe introducing them there would be a good idea. I mean, I watched that Styles and Nakamura match from Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Yeah.
Incredible match. Very good. Very strong. I was watching them hit each other and I was like, making my eyes water. But they were both so good. I mean, if WWE has managed to sign them, then they've got themselves two incredible talents, which will be, you know, it'll make people interested, which is essentially what you want.
That's the thing that I've seen as well. It's just the sheer excitement, and I sort of get what you're saying there. Like give the Bullet Club, the Balor Club remix, because they can't do Bullet Club anyway, because Wrestle King, New Japan would sue them. So Balor Club, yeah, you could do that, and then do you know what I think would be a really cool feud, because they also have 4 members. Shinsuke Nakamura, I don't think put him in the Balor Club because he hasn't really had anything to do with the Bullet Club. But have those 4 guys, AJ, Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Finn Balor, feud with the Wyatt family. Now that
would be cool. Now I love Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt is one of the most interesting and coolest characters that WWE has got. I always find that when he's in a feud, though, he doesn't end up coming out on top, which I don't necessarily agree with. But he just makes everyone so good. I mean, he made Roman Reigns look cool. Roman Reigns is cool anyway. I don't care what you say. Roman Reigns is cool. So, he made him look even cooler. Obviously, he had his feud with Cena around his first WrestleMania, which I think it should have went the other way. I think Bray Wyatt should have won the match at Mania.
The crowd was so into him that night.
Exactly. The crowd are into him. They're a cool heel faction. How he hasn't won any sort of championship yet is a travesty. Not even like a US title. I mean, he's deserved something. He's been that good. Like, he's so interesting and unique and different. He's like not the Undertaker, but he's like something along the same vein of the Undertaker, where he could have that character for like the next 10, 15 years and it would still be relevant. And it was like, I mean, the Undertaker constantly reinvented himself and made his character cool again and whatnot. Bray Wyatt, I can see that happening the same way.
Oh yeah. Do you know what I like as well though? Because it's kind of getting off topic a bit, but here we go. This is the cool thing. Like, that's always the cool thing about going live. You have when he leaves NXT, they're kind of face at that point when they leave NXT. They've had their match, and he does this promo, and it is so distinctly face. Good guy. He's the good guy there,
Yeah. And
it's so clear because the fans are so into him. It's absolutely awesome. And the thing that I like about Bray Wyatt is as the bad guy, as the man from the dark side, he is the man from the dark side. He's pure evil. But what I'd love to see him turn good. I'd love to see him turn good and go up against the corporation, the boss. I'd love to see him actually fully embrace that thing from the NXT promo, i.e. bring down the machine. Bray Wyatt decided he's going to change things around here because that promo was electric. And I'd love to see him go up against the McMahons.
That would be cool. I get that would be a cool idea. But I also see them as like, they're a family. They're the Wyatt family. They're their own entity. Like, they should answer to no one. They should be, kick everyone's ass rather than just being categorized as good or bad. They should just be their own like entity. I like Luke Harper. I think Luke Harper's cool. I mean, when they broke them up, it didn't really make sense because it was just a bit meh. When they brought them back together, they were cool again. So like it was, if you keep them together, I think they're going to go places. Especially Bray Wyatt. I think he's very good. Like, massive, not underrated as such, but he is a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for, I think.
Oh yeah, he what I did like though about the last episode of Raw that they're on, they did the whole segment with the entire roster on the stage and Vince McMahon's calling them all out saying, "Oh, could you be the guy to beat Roman Reigns? Oh, could you be the guy to beat Roman Reigns?" And then what I liked about that is then it comes done, and then they're there, and then it separated them, and it's like I've been saying all along. It's like I'm starting to see them separate them a little bit from the pack, which is really quite nice to see.
Definitely.
And that's the way to go. But the thing that interests me, a lot of people will sort of wonder if Nakamura's going to go the same way as Hideo Itami. But I don't think that's the case because a lot of people, I think they see him and assume that it's just in ring, his charisma in ring. But the thing that a lot of people don't know is that actually Nakamura understands and can speak English now. A lot of Japanese guys have to learn it before they go to WWE, but he can actually already speak it.
That's it. Like, I mean, he's going to be a guy that if he's very different. Like most Japanese wrestlers, especially like when you look at Hideo Itami, he's quite small. Nakamura looks big, and he's not massive.
Tall.
He's not like 6'6". He's quite tall though, yeah. So I think he's automatically standing out a little bit different from that way. But if he can get over through like promos or something like that, then that would be cool because a lot of foreign talents struggle with that. So like Cesaro is amazing in the ring, but put him on a mic and it's a bit meh. Rusev, he had Lana who got him so much heat, and he got so much heat that I think there's only so far you can go with like a foreign villain sort of.
Yeah, you kind of have to try and find something unique to it rather than just they're an invader.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if Nakamura can cut promos and do things like that, I mean, automatically makes him stand out and make him different from the rest of the Japanese wrestlers anyway. It'll be interesting when Itami's back. It'll be interesting when Hideo Itami's back as well, you know. If Nakamura does sign, then, you know, you got two Japanese wrestlers ready to face off and they can show each other what they were doing over in Japan, but on WWE, so...
Yeah, that's a match that I'd love to see. Because those two guys, they're so hard hitting, and very similar styles as well in some ways, but very very distinct differences as well. But they're not the only guys. These four guys, they've obviously got some cool stuff coming up with WWE. I think one thing that I did see, which I did quite like, before we move on to a final story, was apparently there was a rumor. Apparently, the original plan for AJ Styles was to have him debut in the Rumble match. Apparently, though, they're getting cold feet on that now because of the amount of press that the story has garnered, and they're like, oh, well, surprise is gone. I'd actually find it more of a surprise if they did it now than I think everybody's expecting him to have to report at NXT first and then go to main roster if he does. But I still think it's going to be a surprise whenever, you know, because they haven't said he's officially signed, and until they've said he's officially signed, he hasn't officially signed, you know. So if he comes out of the Rumble, he's still going to get a big reaction because it's still going to be a surprise. And it's going to be AJ Styles in WWE. Everyone's been crying out for that for so long, so, you know, it'll be interesting. I agree on that front because, I mean, for me, it hasn't been confirmed. AJ Styles thing is conjecture at this point, but at the same time, I'm like, even if you told me, oh yeah, by the way, even if you showed me a video footage of AJ Styles behind the curtain at Royal Rumble, even if you showed me there a live feed of him behind the curtain as the Rumble's happening and saying, look, this guy's going to go next, this guy's going to go next. As an AJ Styles fan and someone who's never seen him do it, I would still be surprised if he came out.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be a surprise. I mean, I think Gallows and Anderson, you know, keep them together. They'll be cool. I like tag team wrestling. Hit them and the New Day would be incredible. I love the New Day. The New Day are really funny to me. They get a good reaction. So, you know, New Day rocks. You know, it's like, so it'd be interesting.
Feel the power.
Yeah, no, don't you dare be sour.
Yeah, I love that. Now, there's one last thing, of course, we can touch on before we say goodbye to everybody watching live, which we have had a steady stream of people. We haven't had any, like, we haven't had the 20 of people at any one time, but we have had a very steady stream of people who I'd like to thank you all for watching this podcast so far. I hope you're enjoying the show. I think I am. I am. Before we say goodbye and bid you all good night, we do have one last thing to talk about, and this is a man who's going to get, I think, the recognition, the worldwide recognition that he deserves, and that is the Icon Sting is being inducted into the 2016 Hall of Fame.
Indeed, about time too.
Yeah, that's literally the main thought on that front. Is it's about time too. Yeah. The cool thing is he deserves it. Just look at everything he's done. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, why Sting? He's lost twice." No. You misunderstand, Mr. 6-year-old. he has had so much of a career behind him. WCW, although WWE won't commit it, TNA.
He was ultimately the most loyal of wrestlers to WCW. He stayed there for the entire duration. Didn't go to WWE when WCW folded. Managed to stick out at TNA for years. I mean, Sting versus The Undertaker would have happened if he had left earlier, 100%. I mean, I think there'd be no point to having it now because they're both past their prime. The match would still be good, I imagine, but they're obviously not in their prime. Ultimately deserves the WWE Hall of Fame. I mean, I think the Hall of Fame now is becoming more for everyone. I mean, they've put Arnie in the Hall of Fame. Do you know what I mean? So, it's not to say that Arnie doesn't deserve to be in there. It's more like they're recognizing people for the wrestling industry, not necessarily just for WWE, which is cool.
Yeah. On that front, just brief point we could touch upon. If you're going to go down that front of having all these other guys in it, there's been some people who've done so much for that company, and that's Motorhead. Particularly with Lemmy's tragic passing as well. Now would be a really, really good time to get Motorhead in the Hall of Fame.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening. I can see Lemmy being put in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he does. So. He did Triple H's theme song. He did Evolution's theme song. So I can see that happening, quite possibly.
Yeah, I mean, if any celebrity deserves it. That's just it, and Sting, it's so long overdue. The impact he had in the industry. It was basically Sting's feud with the NWO that got WCW those ratings wins back in the 97, 96.
100%. Do you think he'll be back for WrestleMania 32?
I don't know.
To wrestle, I mean, not
to wrestle. I severely doubt it. Apparently, he's still hurt.
Is it what, neck? Yeah.
Yeah, apparently so. Well, I mean, you can never
like
tell.
The other injury list, like all of the injury lists that WWE is at the moment.
God, yeah, it makes you cringe when you look at the list of them. But yeah, I think he's still on the injured list for a bit, and to see him wrestle there, I would be very surprised at this point in time. But then again, it's like as fans, even if they think they know. They don't know anything. So
exactly.
We can't say for sure what's going to happen there. We're just when it comes to WWE, we're just fans.
And that's the best thing, isn't it? That's the best thing as a fan. The best thing about being a fan is not knowing. I mean, you can get all your spoilers and your dirt sheets and all that sort of stuff, but the best thing about being a fan is not knowing, because then when something does genuinely surprise you, you give them a reaction. You shout, you scream, you do all that sort of stuff. Anything that's a surprise. I mean, I remember when Jericho came back in 2013 at the Royal Rumble, and he came in at number 2 with Dolph Ziggler. When he came back, I remember watching it. I was sat in bed with my laptop watching, and the lights went off, the countdown went, and I swore, I went, holy shit. I was like, yes, this is awesome, because it was a surprise. No one knew, and when no one knows, that's when it's better, isn't it? So, no one's going to know for sure if AJ's going to debut at the Royal Rumble, if Nakamura is going to debut at the Royal Rumble. No one's going to know until it happens. And when it happens, that's when you can, celebrate, because that's ultimately what everyone's wanted for the last few years.
Well, we did the same thing when Bubba Ray came out last year. We were watching it.
Exactly.
We were watching it. We were streaming our reactions as well, because we had the live stream of our reactions to the Rumble. And it goes, we're like, Bubba Dudley! We just
yes!
It was like,
going crazy.
This is awesome! It was, and then, of course, the Rumble kind of went downhill after that point. But,
but let's not talk about that.
let's not talk about that. That's bad. We don't want that. But well, I must admit that's the thing. That's the great thing about being a wrestling fan, and that's a great thought for us to end our chat on. Is the great part about being a wrestling fan is you can think you know, but you just don't.
You don't. And that's it.
Yeah, you just don't. You can take that from a professional wrestler. You don't know at all. And I'll tell you what, next week I'll be back for more stuff that you don't know about. How about that? Next week we'll be back. We'll see what day it's going to be. If you want to know, I haven't actually got a guest or guests.
Hell, I'll do it again. I'll do it again. We'll review PWA. Can you get more people in on that?
Oh, we can. This whole Google Hangouts thing can do 12 people at the same time.
12 people. I say we get me and Jason King on at the same time.
Oh, now that would be. I wouldn't have to do anything. I just have to sit back and just go, gentlemen, have a go, and then see what happens.
Exactly. That's all you would need to do.
So yeah, that could happen. It could be guests. It could be guests. We haven't got anything concrete for sure, but we'll be working on that throughout the week. And if you want to know what's going to happen with WrestleCast, or if I'm going to change the name, I don't know. I might just keep that name. Actually, it's starting to sound good to me. Chuns WrestleCast. If we keep that name, then yeah, that'd be awesome. So if you want to keep up with all the events, all the happenings, you can find me at my Facebook page. Actually, no, you can't, because that's a private Facebook page. It's not a public. I'll create a public page. Oh, you know what? I'm going to create a public page. Maybe. I don't know. I'll see if I get around to that. But the definite place, you can get to see what's going on is Twitter. Follow me, Glenn_Chun. I'm there on Twitter. I will be announcing the guest midway through the week. So if you want to know who it's going to be, for sure, Twitter is the place to do it. And also, we're going to do the same thing for you, Grace. Where can they find you? Where can they find Grayson Reeves on the internet?
They can find him on Facebook. I've got a like page and I've got a personal page. I mean, you don't want the personal page. You want the like page. If you go to the like page, I'll be like posting all my stuff over the coming weeks. Because obviously we've got PWA and CPW coming up, so you'll see all my outcomes. I've got promo shots being done soon, so they'll go up on the Facebook as well. I mean, there's things going to be happening, so just keep an eye out. All
right. That's where you can find us. For me, Twitter, Glenn_14. Chun, I've completely screwed that up. For me,
it out, Glenn.
For me, it's Twitter, Glenn_Chun. And for Grayson Reeves, it's on Facebook at Grayson Reeves, the like page, and you can find everything we're doing right there. For now, I must say very big thank you for watching. I know, Grayson, you've been a fantastic guest as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Anytime indeed.
I mean, it's been fun. It's always fun to talk about wrestling. So next week, more fun. I hope I'll see you all guys there. But for now, from me and Grayson, good night.